last resort to save their children, to save us. We have a teaching, a knowing in Indian country within our indigenous populations that we are the answer to our grandmother's prayers. When they signed that treaty, they were praying for us to still be here, for a little bit of us that they had left, that we had left, for us to have something good. They signed it in peace. It said that over 90% of our population was wiped out due to genocide during the time of colonization. That was just less than 170 years ago, right here. 90% of our population wiped out due to war and death, disease. We were displaced. We were murdered. Our women were raped and abused, and our children were stolen, our language was stolen, and our religion was stolen. I stood on the shores of the Nisqually River a couple of weeks ago, Nisqually Descendancy, and I'm standing there thinking it's salmon season, our salmon are coming back, and I could just picture my great-grandparents standing along that same river fighting for their rights, fishing, and surviving for thousands and thousands of years, surviving on the descendants of the salmon that are coming up that river today. The salmon that we eat today are the same descendants. They come home every year of the salmon that my great-grandfather used to catch, the salmon that fed my family for thousands and thousands of years, that fed our family for thousands and thousands of years. We have a sacred promise to protect them. Those are our relatives. So we stand here today and fight and protect what is valuable, what is sacred to us, and what is sacred to our generations in the future, just like our ancestors did. I just want to pose a question that what if women in your community were disappearing? Every day you turn on the news, every week there was a new disappearance, a missing woman, a missing sister, your mother, your cousin, your neighbor, the girl next door. What would you do? Where would you turn? With that, my mother, Leona LeClaire Kinsey, was 44 years old when she disappeared. She went to the grocery store to meet a friend and was never heard from again. It's been almost 20 years since she disappeared with no news, no updates. The police always say someday they're going to do this and someday they'd like to do that. So I have to keep reminding them, when is someday? 20 years from now is too long of a someday. And that's the answer that all of our Indigenous families get, is that they're looking into something. Call us when you hear anything, and someday we'd like to do this, and someday we'd like to see her come home. But yet there's a lack of action and apathy towards Indigenous people and people of color and vulnerable populations. My cousin, Lenore Davis Lawrence, was murdered in 2002. She was responding to a call from a friend who was a victim of domestic violence, and she was coming to help her get out of that bad situation. While she was there, she was shot in the back by the abuser and died. Domestic violence takes nearly 70% of Native American women's lives who are lost to homicide. It's due to domestic violence and intimate partner relationship. 75% of our Native women are killed from someone that they love or know. And often because they're going in to do something good, they're following their heart, and they're defending their sisters, and they're killed. They are protecting their families and their children, and they're killed. They're targeted and they're exploited. And their value is extracted from them just like it is from this earth. Sorry, after following Dakota, some of these people speak so passionately from the heart, I still have to have my bullet points. When I speak about my mom and my cousin, my family were just two people. Two out of nearly 6,000 women who have gone missing in the United States in 2015 and 16 alone. This year, we've had almost 3,000 women just in the first 6 months of 2018. Nearly 3,000 women have gone missing in the United States. Those numbers are unacceptable. And the more we see climate change and environmental injustice, and the closer it happens to our backyard, the more vulnerable we are. Tacoma and Fife were rated in the top 5 of the most dangerous cities in Washington state. We're already like number 2 and 3 of the most dangerous cities, the highest rates of rape and the highest rates of murder. To thoroughly address the issue of climate change, we must acknowledge the link between extraction and violence in our communities and violence against women through human trafficking, domestic violence, and assault on our people. The health of our people cannot be separated from the earth and the health of our environment. This is an intersection of extraction and the violence that goes with it in populations who are already vulnerable. We're already vulnerable, and it's a human rights violation. It's a continuation of the genocide that we had 150 years ago. It's a continuation of the genocide that has been ongoing since the time we signed and before we signed our treaties. Extraction sites, pipelines, resource projects, and man camps are often in close proximity to indigenous communities. These transient workers that come along with them, they bring increased rates of crime, and it's a culture that intensifies many of the problems we're already facing. Women and children are the ones that pay the price for this. They're the victims of the adverse effects of man camps. Our women and children. We have an obligation to protect our women. Our women are sacred, and our children are gifts from the Creator. We are fighting to protect our Mother Earth, our salmon relatives, our orcas, our sacred women, and our children. And we pray for them, that we leave something good behind for them, and we stand here today to make sure that we're doing that. Man camp culture is common for workers who work 16 hours a day, sometimes over 20 days at a time. 16 hours a day, 20 days at a time. At the end of 5 days, I'm wiped out. This culture intensifies mental illness, isolation, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, violence, and racism. And our relatives in nearby communities experience higher rates of crime, assault, sex trafficking, substance abuse, domestic violence, and homicide. Indigenous people have been bought and sold and traded since the time of colonization. Historically, indigenous people have been seen as commodities and as a natural resource. In the Bakken, in our oil fields, our women are dealing with this today. North Dakota had 125 women reported missing in 2016. Montana has already, in 2018, had 13 women go missing. That's just in 6 months, 13 women. In Indian country, this affects really all of our families. And when you think about it, if you really look at how it affects us a lot deeper, and we're more connected than we realize. Outsiders could extract from and take from women whatever they wanted, whether that was sex, labor, our children, our culture, our minerals from our land, our livelihood and our way of life, our ability to feed ourselves and to govern ourselves. There was a report in the Tribal Insights brief, Trafficking in Indian Country. It reported that 52% of women that were involved in the commercial sex trade in Vancouver, British Columbia, were First Nations. The population of Indigenous women in Vancouver, British Columbia is less than 2%. Yet 52% of the women involved in prostitution. I want to rephrase that. 52% of the prostituted women. It's not a choice. For many of those women, it's not a choice. 52% were victims, and only 2%. There's a huge disparity there. I bring that link into Vancouver, British Columbia, because that's a highly populated First Nations community. We're along the I-5 corridor. We're just up the river from Vancouver. Those are our relatives. Those are our sisters. Our communities are deeply, deeply intertwined through culture and through marriage, our stories, our language. The I-5 corridor is one of the most heavily trafficked areas in the country. There's a map on Polaris.com that shows the link between the I-5 corridor and human trafficking. So it's safe for us to say that those statistics that are in Vancouver that are along this same circuit where they take our girls and our women and our sisters and our brothers, and they travel them up and down the I-5 corridor and they sell them. And they torture them and abuse them and rape them and kill them. So we're all connected, from Vancouver to Canada to Mexico. All of our communities, all of our Indigenous communities, we're facing a lot of the same problems. Further, I want to point out that it's critical to point out the adverse effects of climate change, emphasize the health concerns that we face through disease, unprecedented weather patterns, social instability and violent crime. When we look at unprecedented weather patterns, we have legends here that say that one of the last major tsunamis that was told through story, that they found canoes in the trees when they came back down from the mountains. Those who survived found canoes in the trees. So before we had unprecedented weather patterns, we had a tsunami right here that put our people and our remains of our villages in trees. So to think that we're safe and that this isn't affecting us, and that fracking and increased earthquakes and increased weather patterns and increased sea level rise and unprecedented storms isn't going to affect us, and that we aren't in the direct path of harm's way, is blind. Faced with one of those perfect storms and this 8 million gallon bomb that's just across the path from us, we don't stand a chance. And they're trying to tell us that it's safe. Yet with the climate change and the sea level rise, we know that it's not. And the unprecedented storms, we know that it's not. Can you guarantee that they can keep that thing at negative 260 degrees in the middle of a tsunami? That it's not going to blow? It's not worth the risk for me. It's not worth the risk for me to put my children and my grandchildren through that. I'm not saying that I stood up and did everything that we could. And together we can. Tell everybody to know what's happening here. Use your power, use your voice, and vote. The gap between the rich and the poor is steadily increasing. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This increase in violent crime, we also see an increase in the police use of deadly force in our vulnerable populations. Minorities, Native Americans, African Americans, Latinos are killed by police at higher rates than any other races. We don't have to be. We can prevent these things that are causing us to be in harm's way, that are making us additionally vulnerable, and we can stand together with our brothers and sisters who are victims and who are additionally vulnerable, and we can use our voices. We don't have to be. Together, by voting yes on I-940, we can say not one more. No more of our brothers and sisters to be killed by police. The systems that are here to protect us are failing, and we have to stand up. We have to demand fair and just treatment and laws within our communities. I'm Puyallup. I'm the Squally. We're people of the River's Bend, and we're the Salmon people. We're tied to this land. And all living creatures, the water and the Mother Earth, they're alive. And we love them as we do our families. This is a love that is ingrained in us through our DNA, through generations and generations and generations. We're from this land. Water is life. We are water. We've made sacred promises to protect them. To protect Mother Earth, to protect our water, and to protect all of our relatives. To be a voice for them. I'm standing against the oppression of people of color, Indigenous peoples facing displacement, increased homelessness and poverty, increased rates of sickness and disease, domestic violence, sexual violence, assault, substance abuse, human trafficking, and murder. We have a lot to do to balance this scale, but we can. We're strong, we're resilient, and we're Indigenous. Thank you.